them. We are now.
Thank you.
My apologies,
So,
everyone.
last question is, could we, now that we have it and we own it, could we upload it afterwards?
Yep, we can do that. Yeah, that was kind of our intention from the beginning. We've just only had, I think, 2 meetings that we've recorded so far, so we just haven't been able to figure out exactly how that's gonna work. But the town does have a YouTube channel so that the encoder and the iCompass website can be linked to the YouTube because it uses YouTube as its hosting platform. So we do have a channel that we could post the meetings on. I just have to make sure that the closed captioning still works if it's uploaded after the fact, because we need to have closed captioning on our videos for it to be AODA compliant. That's why it's a lot more complicated than a lot of people in the public realize. A lot of people think you can just go on Facebook Live and have the meeting ready to stream to the public, but it's much more difficult than that. We have to meet AODA standards.
Okay,
Okay, that was a long
that's
answer.
it. I won't ask anymore.
Anyone have any other questions?
Oh, did Gord Martin?
You gotta click that thing there, don't you? It's still on the screen. You look good with the sign, but
If I could just add something I really wanted to highlight in our report when we're talking about the retrofit is how everything that we've been working on for the last year, 2 years works together. So the council chambers technology has to link to the iCompass portal website, which has to integrate with our new website. So us live streaming our meetings to the public is kind of the end goal in a project that we've been working on for about 2 years. So I just wanted to highlight how it all works together.
And I don't want to demean or not appreciate all the work that has gone into it. It's always, like we were saying, that last 5% to get us to the finish line. So I wanted to say thank you for all the work that you guys have been doing. And it's, hopefully we get to put this to bed so you guys can move on to something else. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Good, all right. Thank you very much. Moving on to Treasurer Colson.
Just, I didn't know we were done. I thought we were just talking about the live feed, but, I just want to call out with, Deputy Clerk, Fraser. I would have got it. I just want to, my appreciation of, using, your experience to help us out. I think we are all in agreement that we could use some professional human resources, help. So, appreciate you, stepping into that role or partially into that role, along with your live streaming portion and all the other things you do. So I think it's going to be a great asset to the town having you helping us out in that role. So thank you very much for that, Leah.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ferguson.
Councillor Shine.
thank you, Chair McQuay. That's on. Didn't want to move it too close one. Okay. I wanted to say a special thank you to Sue for taking over the cemetery. She's been very easy to work with, has made it very comfortable for our volunteers who sit on it to keep them informed and as well as keeping them engaged. So that's been really good, I believe, for that cemetery board. My question is then for into regards to the general day-to-day, do we not have a public works employee who works at the garage that takes care of the inventory?
Yeah, I'm just working with him to, I'm just helping out kind of thing. Yeah, we do have a stores keeper. We've been working together to catalog the big equipment. Plus it helped for our insurance that I was helping the finance department and the CAO for our broker.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Councillor Johnson.
Wait. A question for Leah. I'm sorry.
Where did he go?
With the hiring of these 15 employees, is Public Works now at its maximum employees, just the Public Works Department, or are we short still?
far as I'm aware, there is still some vacant positions. I'm still working with Tyler on that. As far as I'm aware. Okay.
My understanding is there's some operator roles that need to be filled.
Okay,
There's some vacant positions, yes. There's, yeah.
okay. For the third time, any more questions? Okay, hearing none, on to Treasurer Colson with finance. Starting with the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund 2024.
Okay, so you'll see in the report, this is, we always refer to this as our own funding. So if you hear us refer to that, that's the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, which is basically the town's major operating grant from the province. This year we are down $11,500, which is a little less than last year, but has been consistently going down. So, and I also gave you all the technical details on how it's calculated, and I'm sure you're just riveted by all that information, but it gives you an idea how it comes about. And then I didn't realize I emailed you further information specifically to Atikokan, but when I emailed it, I was thinking you guys already had this report and didn't realize till later that you didn't even have the report, so you were probably quite confused, but it's in reference to this report. Are there any questions?
Counselor Shine?
Thank you, Chair McQuaig. Brandy, are you expecting the amounts to go down significantly every year? And at what point do we have to be worried about our budgets?
They do go down every year. If you notice in the report, back in 2017, we got significantly, like almost $1 million more. And prior to that, now for the last few years, we go down between $10,000 and $20,000, and I expect that to continue. So that's just become part of our budget with that expectation.
Are they giving you valid reasons for the reduction?
Yeah, well, it's again, it's all based on the calculations, and I mean, the province overall has been trying to reduce funding any way they can. So I don't, I haven't heard of any, significant changes coming or anything like that. So I expect the trend to continue between 10 and 20 a year.
And you've just been adjusting our budget accordingly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Ferguson?
Yeah, thank you, Chair McQuay. So just indulge me if we did have more residents, more housing, more properties on the tax roll, and I did read all this, would our allotment go up?
It would go up in some cases and down in some cases because when we have low assessments, so we get extra money in other areas. The number of households, you get certain amounts, so it would change more than one line.
So it would take from one and give.
Yeah, so it would really depend on how it all ended up.
So we're at the whim of the province, basically.
Yeah, it's basically,
There's nothing that we can do to
no,
raise that.
no.
That's what kind of where I was going. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions with that? All right, seeing none, on to revenues and expenses. Treasurer Colson, did you want to just go on to the next one and then continue? Okay.
Okay, so the next is the revenue and expenses for month ending October. So nothing, no significant changes compared to the prior month. If anybody has any specific questions?
Are we projected to be on budget? This is, because there's a lot here. So I'm just, because a lot of it's timing, right? We discussed this.
Yeah,
regularly.
so yes, because basically, so for example, the culvert, we expect it to be over budget. So what we do at the year end, when we look at where we're at, we look at, okay, we put, $50,000 into sidewalks that we didn't use. So then generally the department head will say, okay, I want to use this 50,000 next year. I didn't have time to do it this year, so I want to use it next year. So we put that into reserves for next year. This year, we won't be putting that 50,000 because we'll be over budget for the culvert. So, at this point, I don't have any significant concerns, but, the culvert, as of today, my expectation for the culvert is 300,000 over budget. But the project is barely started, like it's mid, so I would expect there to be more change orders and, so that over budget will have to come from the money we didn't spend elsewhere. So it's gonna be a little. And then we've also done so many budget transfers already because of the other projects. Like this is the worst budget I've ever had. Pertaining to, and we'll see that more in the next report. But the Mud Lake project, for example, was way more expensive than we had anticipated. So we had to take money from another budget line and we did that for several projects. So this is the most confusing budget I've ever dealt with.
Like confusing would be a good word. Yeah.
So yeah, we need to get a better handle on our budget and we need to, at year end, we won't be transferring as much into reserves. Because the problem with year end is you have to make that decision on your reserves, what you're putting into reserves before the year's even over. So I have to rely on the department heads to say, yeah, I still have another bill for $50,000 coming for this project. So it happens sometimes where I put, okay, so I'll put 50,000 into reserves and then a week later we'll get a bill for 50,000. So now we're over budget. Because you have to keep in mind, our budgets are cash basis. So what we spend this year and what work was done this year, doesn't matter whether we pay it this year or next year, it has to be allocated to this year. So basically, in a perfect world, your revenues and expenses would exactly match your budget. They're not going to, and you're going to have some that go year over year, but we still have to account for each accordingly and account for the budget in each according year. So that makes the year-end reserve transfer difficult, and I always try to be as conservative as possible because I don't want a deficit. So at this point, I don't expect a deficit, but I'm a little concerned with the way the budget is.
Oh, sorry, Counselor Shine.
Thank you, Chair McQuaig. So you're expecting the culvert to be roughly $300,000 over budget. Is
As
that-
of today.
As of today.
I expect it to be more. I'm just saying, as of today, we are around $300,000 over budget.
So maybe you can answer this question. So when the culvert thing got delayed because they were going to do a redesign and do a different culvert and things like that, it was suggested that we would be saving a certain amount of money. So even by doing all of that, we're still going to be $300,000 over budget, if not
Yes.
more.
Yes, I expect it to be more.
Okay.
Right now I'm on change order number 9 and I'm missing, so as of change order number 9, we're about 300,000 over budget for the whole project. That includes the engineering, but I'm missing change order 7 and 8, and if there's any after 9. So, and like I said, we're in the middle of the project, so generally there's more as it goes, so.
Sir Johnson?
Chair McQueen. We're, this culvert project is way, way behind. We've had change orders. They've been sitting for whatever reason, doing nothing. And now we have another change, number 9 coming up.
Well, that's
What-
normal.
What?
That change orders are normal for any project. That's just a normal thing. You get several change orders for any project. But what I'm saying is, I feel like the project is barely started and we still have a lot to go, so I'm expecting more change orders.
I think that's not something,
No,
she's
it's,
just, you know,
Yeah.
she's just reporting the money. The answers need to come from
Tyler's not here and we can't speak to
somebody
it.
else, not, it's not
Mhm.
the treasurer's job to answer
No.
why. She's just reporting what it is, so.
Yeah, I can't give any details on the project or how it's going besides.
Yeah.
Funny.
There's different people that would should answer to those questions. Just, what's that?
So where are they?
I don't know where they are.
They're not on the agenda anyway. It's not on the agenda, so we're gonna move on to the next unless someone has another question regarding the budget. Revenues and expenditures.
Just, and as I'm learning on this, when we have revenue and we have expenditures, and I see Graham, so our volunteer firefighting is on the expenses, just to kind of explain, is over, but a lot of that is because we respond to emergencies outside our jurisdiction, which we are made whole for, which would probably go into the revenue, but the cost would go into the expenses, so it's not that you're over budget, it's the revenues coming, stream is somewhere else.
So some of the revenues don't reflect necessarily the cost of providing services. And it's not always that we go out of town either. That's just part of the response we do. But as an example, May of 2023, we did 28 calls. That's just abnormal. So we have, if you like, a projected number that would protect the community, and we base that on past history. But if we have an unusual amount of calls, one of the calls, 26 hours of 12 people, it affects the budget very quickly. The actual operational side, the purchases, the things like that sort of floats within. I have, my boundaries handed by council with the budget, but for the calls themselves, we have no
Yeah, you have no
no
control
say
over
on
that.
whether we go. If the
Fine.
pager goes off now, I leave. That's just the way it works.
And that's where I was kind of going on. It's not that,
Yeah,
it's over a budget, it's just
it-
circumstances.
So as one example, and I know it is budget related, so it's not too much of a segue. The bunker gear is over budget, and we have money in reserves, but I'm not just spending money because we have money in reserves. I need the gear. It's a legislated requirement. So if we buy the gear, it's no good me coming to you in May and saying, oh, I need $3,000 out of reserves. So if it does come to a point where we need to pull money from reserves, I would come to council somewhat soon and say, we had 4 new firefighters or 4 sets of expired gear or whatever the case might be. But the actual operations side, no, we don't really go outside the budget.
Counselor Stein?
Counselor Martin had his hand up before me, but
Oh, sorry, Counselor Martin.
No, that's okay. I'll go next.
Okay, he's gonna let ladies go
Okay.
first.
Go ahead, Counselor Shy.
Thank you, Chairman Craig. So Brandy, it's getting to that time of the year when you're working with the department heads to work on the 2024 budget. So as Graham explained, things are over budget. Do you take into consideration when you're working with them? They had 28 calls, say more than were expected, than what you projected in the budget. Do you take that into consideration working with him for next year's budget?
Yes, so each department head themselves should look at that. Like, for example, our fire, our avgas and jet fuel sales, they skyrocketed for a couple of years because of fires and the M&R being in so much. And so you have to guess on that. You don't know, are there going to be a lot of fires? Is M&R going to be here? But you also look at the trends and the expectations. So this year we're quite under budget in jet fuel and avgas because of that, because we've been basing it on the last couple of years. We expected it to drop, so we did drop it, but we're still a little bit under budget. So we basically, they give me what their expectations are, and then if I think it's high or low, then I'll ask them, why did you come to this? And we just make sure everybody's on the same page.
Thank you.
We'll let Counselor Martin go first, then you can go, Graham. Counselor Martin?
Okay, thanks, Chair McQuay. A couple things I noticed with bylaw, it went in half, looked like it was about half from last year. And I was wondering where the legal, like I didn't see the line for the legal fees for the town on your budget there, Brandy. Anybody hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm not sure what you were referring to about bylaw. Was that the revenue?
Yeah, well, it was like 90,000 last year and 40,000 this year or something. I'm looking at it here. I don't know, bylaw enforcement, I don't know, whatever. Minor detail, but no, the thing is so small, I
3320,
can't.
Randy, 3320 on the first page is the bylaw one.
Oh, okay, that's
Oh.
the expenses.
Right, yep,
Okay, I thought you were talking about revenue.
sorry,
Okay.
expenditures. Yeah, bylaw was
Yeah, so that was,
90,000.
that's because we bought a truck last year.
I gotcha, okay. Second part of the question is there legal fees? I don't see a line item for
Yeah, so
expenditures for legal.
the legal fees are in different parts. So for example, in admin, we have legal fees, under sewer, we have legal fees, and then under planning, we have legal fees. So, in the revenue and expense that you're seeing, they're all consolidated. So, admin, for example, is admin labor, admin material and service, admin office supplies, admin legal, admin, you're just seeing the whole category, but I can go through and let you know where we're at for legal. sec
Yeah,
here.
thank you, Brandy. That's fine. I didn't see that line item. But as you said, it's all rolled into the different, okay, departments or projects.
Okay, so admin legal right now, we've spent 99,000. And we budgeted 160. Planning legal, we budgeted 25 and we have spent 15,099 and 6 cents. And then sewer legal is a little bit more convoluted because it also contains some contracted services that aren't related to legal. So we budgeted 150 and we've spent 20,618. But I know 50,000 of that, just off the top of my head, is for CCTV that we haven't done, so, that's a chunk of that. So that's where we're at as of October.
Just-
Okay, thank you.
Just, sorry, Gord. Just one last thing, just from what I've seen in my experiences, like we go year to date and then budget. So if we're comparing year to date to last year's year to date, it looks like maybe we're spending more. But I would like to think that we're planning better and we're getting ahead better. So some of the winter stuff, we've already spent the money on, where last year we were scrambling in the last 3 months to get it done. So it's not, it's, a lot of it's like we say, a lot, some of it's timing. It's not that we're gonna be over budget compared to last year this time, or we're gonna be under budget. It's whether we're ahead on the curve on planning or behind on the curve on planning. That's something that kind of rings out for the end of the year. So I understand that sometimes that happens. And I just looked at the ski hill that we spent more money at the ski hill this year than we did last year this time. And I would chalk that up to where it got things done in August and September as opposed to November and December. So come at the end of the year, it should work out, but because we are better organized, that we may be spending that money in the third quarter where we didn't spend it to the fourth quarter last year. And that's my layman's idea of budget.
Another situation with the ski hill is, did you get a lot of snow from January to April? And then, or not much from October to December? The seasonal ones are kind of difficult in that way.
It's all circumstance.
Yeah.
Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for remembering it. Just, I just wanted to answer Councillor Shine about the one line item, and that is the calls that we do. Both Brandy and I sit down and we look at basically a trend of over the period of 5 to 7, even to 10 years. And we know that we're rolling roughly 80 calls a year. But if that increases, then we just add it in. So let's say we ran 100 calls as a number. We wouldn't budget for 100 calls. What we do is add that 100 into the average of the last 5 years, and then we'd budget for that next year. And then we're going to do 60 calls. And then it would appear next year we're under budget. But it's just based on the average mean calls that we get. And then for Brandy, if I'm budgeting for something that she has no knowledge on yet, she'll just see numbers and she runs percentages of increase or decrease in the lines that we're looking for. And she'll call me in, or any of us in, how come you're 3% more this year on this budget line? And I'm like, oh, because I want to buy glasses, whatever. And then we discuss it. But that's how we generally figure out where our numbers come from.
Okay, any more questions on revenues and expenses? Okay, budget variance.
Okay, so it hasn't changed much from September, but you will notice I did add a column in there called budget change. And that's basically so I can try and keep track of where we keep transferring different budget lines into other budget lines, because we've had so many projects come in over budget. So, and then some department heads didn't get back to me on any updates, so, but for the most part, the numbers haven't changed much, so I don't expect there to be anything too out of whack on here. So you'll notice the first line that has a budget change in it, road capital expenditures, 25,000. We took that 25,000 and we transferred that to the Mud Lake Dam. So then further down the page, you'll see I was gonna say 25, but we took 25 from airstrip and from roads to go to the dams and added $50,000 there. So these numbers aren't gonna show up on the actual budget because the actual budget that was passed was not that. So in our R&E, it's gonna look like we're gonna be $50,000 over in the Mud Lake Dam, but really we've transferred from other lines.
Counselor Zacharias?
Thank you, Chair McQuay. So is that, like you said, you've never had a budget like this before, so is this just unusual? Is it just because we have so many large projects that all this transferring is happening, or
No, we've,
being too loose?
like when we were doing the sewer lawsuit, we had big projects and big dollars and several on the go. This is odd in the sense, I mean, when it comes to budget transfers, if it's like $1,000, I don't have a concern, you know, if it's something reasonable, I'll question it, but generally you don't have this many projects that are over budget or a change to your budget. Like in a perfect world, your budget would be fairly accurate and or close, and
Mhm.
you wouldn't have to move money all around. And yeah, it just, for example, the big projects, even the sewer lawsuits and that, I would get numbers from the engineers and that, and I would always add a big chunk to that because they were always under. It was never, so for the small, like these are all little projects.
Mhm.
So for them to be so much out of whack compared to the budgeted numbers is odd.
Are we just not accounting for it properly, or what? How can we
We're not
help?
budgeting for it properly. So, because we're expecting it to be this cost and then it's coming in way over, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. And next one, Randy, you were going to speak to this too?
Yes. Okay.
I can give the backstory if you want. I sent an email a while ago regarding training for finances, municipal finances. And so I asked to take the Municipal Finance 101 course, and it's now on the agenda.
Okay, so council doesn't have a training budget. Generally, any training taken by counselors is, you know, at a conference, if there's a workshop or seminar kind of thing. So we don't have a budget line for training, but because we're members, the Municipal Finance 101 course, it's normally $859, but because we're members, we can get it for $659. And Councillor McQuay would like to take it. It's because we don't have a training budget and because it's out of the norm, I thought we should get consensus from council. We do have money in travel, so it could be covered under travel. It's just that we don't have a specific training line. So as long as council's in agreement, I can register her.
Councillor Stein?
Well, thank you, Chair McQuaig. Brandy, so in regards to training, is this something perhaps, because I've looked at different things that we get through our emails that have interested me in taking it. Is this something perhaps that we need to think about for our budgets coming up, because we're all new, not all of us, but some of us are new counselors and are interested in some of the things that the organizations that we belong to.
Yes, definitely. If there is training out there that counselors would like to take, then for sure, we can add a budget line or we can just keep it as part of travel, but, you know, it's just not, so, yeah, like you don't,
But if we have a budget line for it and a certain amount set aside
Yes.
for it, then you know that not all of us can take training
Yeah.
that year. Wouldn't that be more sensible?
Yeah, it's the same with travel though. So because, so let's say we budget 10 grand for travel. Well, when you get a new council, you up the budget for travel because more councillors want to go to more things. But on average, you know, you don't want all of council going to every single meeting. That's not cost effective. So you try and, get the best counselors, the most, you know, if it's part of one of their committees they're on or one of their boards they're on, try and get them to go to the specific. So you just try and be cost effective and use it to the best ability. So the same could be for travel. But if you kind of have to know ahead of time who wants to do what or what's available in order to, because you don't want, again, a whole bunch of counselors wanting to take the same course when the budget was made, just assuming a few people would go. And just like travel,
We don't want all of us going to Toronto for the meetings there. You want, I think we kind of restricted to 2, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mayor Ferguson?
Yes, Councillor Shine, I think when we do, if we say we do travel and training and we have a budget, like,
We
I
don't-
wouldn't want to see people say, well, we got $600 for training for each counselor, so I'm going to try to find something to spend the money on. I think it would be something if it was a budgeted thing that a counselor, say in this case, Counselor McQuay, could write a requisition or a request to take some training and give, you know, how this is going to assist council, how this is gonna assist her, and kind of speak to, I
Why?
wouldn't say justify, but kind of write down why it's a good idea, and what the benefit for her and what the benefit for the corporation is. You know what I mean? So I just wouldn't want to see it's just, here's a bunch of money and we're $2,000 underspent, so I'm gonna take a $1,500 course because we're under budget. You know what I mean?
No,
So
I understand.
I think there's a benefit for training. I think the more, you know, the more we know, the better job that we can do, for sure. I think needs to be, you know, justified on why we're doing it. Like, I can't say I'm going to Toronto for some kind of a course or some kind of a meeting that's not in the best interest of the corporation. So if I want to travel or I want to do something, I should have to justify why I want to do it and what the benefit to the corporation is. Same as if someone wants to take training, justify why they want to take the training and what the benefit was going to be.
As well as give a report on what was a counselor gets out of the program and share it with it. So, you know, that we all reap the benefits of the training as well. Okay, thank you.
So where do we, I'll leave it to, I was going to say, where do we go from here on this? So it's,
Well, I just want, for this instance, does anybody have a problem with using the travel budget to pay for this training?
How much is left in the budget?
I think we've got a few $1,000s. We have $5,365 left, and I don't think there's much travel coming. And the course is $659.
Unanimous.
if, I don't want to wait person. I think if Councillor McQuay is really interested in this and I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but yeah, if there is a, you know, a justification, what they're gonna get out of it, kind of explain it, doesn't have to be a novel, it could be a couple paragraphs on why any counselor that wants to take training, what they're gonna learn from it and how it's gonna benefit the corporation. And it's just, you know, instead of us just sitting around and saying, yeah, sure, do this, yeah, sure, do that. Have some kind of a justification, and then, then we can decide on that.
Okay, so this course is a municipal finance 101, so it's basically a general overview of municipal finances.
Module-based, start to finish.
Yeah, and so it's not intense in depth, but it gives a general overview of how municipal finances work, because they're very different. They are very different than a business and so
I did try to look for one that was not costly, but there's nothing out there that's free.
Everything, yeah.
that is another problem. The courses and training and workshops and that, they're very limited when it comes to, and then when you do find one, like even AMCTO and that, they're quite expensive. It's kind of frustrating, especially when you can do many of them online and remotely. It's frustrating that they're so expensive.
So would we need a resolution for that?
No, if council's okay with it, because it's, not a very large amount, I'm okay. It's just because this is a change from the norm that I wanted to make sure we were all okay with it.
Counselor Shine?
Thank you, Chair McQuaig. And you're willing to present, you don't have to present it to council, but you're willing to share the knowledge that you gain from this to the rest of us so that we can benefit from it as well?
If there is something to share, like if there's, yeah.
Significant things. I'm not
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, I think.
I learned how to add 1 and 1. I'm not looking for
Yeah,
that.
and I don't know that, from what I've read about it, it's more to wrap your head around it right from start to finish. If you'd like, I could send out the course itself, like the overview, and
Then we can. pick
especially
together.
and the reason I was I looked at it last year when we were doing budget, but I want to learn more so that I'm better suited for doing budget when it comes up, right? So and I think you have 60 days, 60 or 90 days to complete the whole thing, but yeah, whatever I can regurgitate from it, yeah, I will try for sure.
Thank you.
Counselor Martin?
Thank you, Chair McQuay. I'm totally for you taking more training, and I'm assuming this is like online. You're not going to Toronto for a week to take this course, and I think, a better educated counselor will be a better counselor for the community, and I'm all for it.
Okay, so now moving forward, do we want to look at, like what, I mean, we can do it as part of the budget process. If you guys think there's more training you are interested in, we can add that during the budget and change the process if that's something you guys are interested in.
Counselor Shine?
Thank you, Chair McQuaig. I was going to call you something else. I think it's important that when we're thinking about our budget for next year, that it would be a good idea for counselors, with all the emails that we get with the courses that are offered, to take a look at them and maybe submit to you and to the rest of us so that we can discuss it prior to included as part of the budget discussions.
And we're sort of going off topic. So we should probably maybe say for our next council, let's put this on the agenda. Can we do that? And then we can discuss maybe a training budget.
On the next agenda, it can go as part of the budget deliberations,
Okay,
because I don't expect any more requests
sure.
prior to them.
Is that good with everyone? And Counselor Zacharias, you're good? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so anything else? No? Do we have a motion? Okay, so we will say We declare this meeting closed at 17:18.
Ready? Like to call to order, 28th meeting of the 40th Council, November 13th, 2023. And to start off, we will start with a moment of reflection. Okay, thank you. Next up is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Oh, I'm sorry. Clerk Bates. First is the approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor McQuay. Resolved that the agenda for the 28th meeting of the 40th Council be approved as presented. Do you have any additions, questions? In favor? Carried. We can edit that too. Next is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. If anybody has anything, they can declare it now or anytime during the meeting. And next up is minutes from previous meetings. The first one is Committee of the Whole meeting, October 23rd, 2023. Moved by Councillor McQuay, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held October 23rd, 2023 be received and filed. In favor? Carried. Next is the in-camera meeting minutes for October 23rd. Moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor McQuay. Resolved that the minutes of the in-camera meeting held October 23rd, 2023 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. Next is the meeting minutes from October 23rd. Moved by Councillor McQuay, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that the minutes of the 25th meeting of the 40th Council held October 23rd, 2023 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. Throws me off with the two meetings on the same day, that's why I. Next is the special meeting minutes held up for October 25th, 24th. Moved by Councillor McQuay, seconded by Councillor Shine. Resolved that the minutes of the 26th meeting of the 40th Council held October 24th be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. Next is the minutes for the special meeting, October 24th. Nope, sorry, we just did that one. Next is the special meeting for October 30th. Moved by Councillor McQuay, seconded by Councillor Shine. Resolved that the minutes of the 27th meeting of the 40th Council held October 30th, 2023 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. Next is the in-camera meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor McQuay, seconded by Councillor Shine. Resolved that the minutes of the in-camera meeting held October 30th, 2023 be adopted as written. In favor? Carried. And is there any matters arising out of the minutes? The minutes are all posted and everybody had a chance to look them over. So if you have any questions, comments, if not, we'll move on to Public Works, Airport and Waste Management. industrial mall door installation. Moved by Councillor Shine, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolve that council approve a budget change for a door installation at the industrial mall to be used for the waste equipment storage and for the electrical upgrades to be deferred. Any discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried. And next we go to Atikokan and General Hospital Board. Councillor Knowles is not here with us. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the hospital board minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to mayor's correspondence. The first one is Alzheimer's Awareness Month for January. It's a request for flying the Alzheimer's Society flag in January. As per our policy, it's 1 week. They can choose a week in January. So does anybody have any issues with flying the flag for, yes, Sue?
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Just so council knows, I've been in contact with with them, and I was proposing the week of January 8th, and she said that was fine as long as council's in agreement, and we'll pass a resolution next council meeting on the 27th to declare Alzheimer's Month in January.
Thanks, Clerk Bates. Any comments, questions? Okay, next up is Louis Riel Day. Once again, it's from the Atikokan Métis Council. Once again, we're writing to request the town of Atikokan recognize Louis Riel Day by flying the Métis flag beginning on November 16th. Goes on to discuss the historic legacy of Louis Riel. And again, it is fly for 1 week. It's not a month, but it is a week that we fly the flag. Is that correct, Councillor Bates?
Counselor?
Or Clerk Bates, sorry.
They're requesting Thursday, the 16th to the Monday, the 20th, so we will allow that.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments, questions? I circulated the invitation for the ceremony out front on the November 16th at 11:30, if anybody would like to attend. Okay, so we will take this as council's agreement to move forward on the flag. Great. Thank you. Next up, Northwestern Health Unit, Councillor Zacharias, meeting minutes from September 27th.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Yeah, we've had a few meetings as of late. You have the meeting minutes in front of you. If anyone has any questions, I will try to field them.
Just a question I have, and I don't know if it's in the minutes, but with COVID flaring up again,
Mhm.
the Northwest Health Unit planning on taking any steps to combat that as of now?
I believe there have been recommendations to mask up, basically same as it was before. Mask, stay home if you have any symptoms, wash your hands, all those good things. Try to stay socially distanced as much as possible. They're not putting it in place. It's just kind of recommendations to try and stay healthy.
Yes, Graham?
You may or may not know, the people in the room, but Atikokan is still under a state of emergency for COVID, and it may have seemed a little unreasonable to carry it on. But in the background, there is always communication with Northwest Health Unit and other municipalities I don't remember the exact number, there was 147, I believe, in declaration. And we are one that, of those that have not undeclared, which gives us the ability to make certain changes to our needs. And I'll leave it at that. But we are still under a state of emergency for COVID.
I was reading in the paper, there was 347 people in the Thunder Bay Regional with COVID, so.
I recently had it, and it was awful.
Councillor Shine.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Graham, do you receive updated recommendations from the ministry as to what to do and what recommendation? Do you follow the recommendations or?
Yes, for the fire response, both through the medical responses that the fire department does, and for we're closely linked with CAC and DSAB, so we get information that way. But we also get information through Emergency Measures Ontario for any developing potentials, not just on sickness, but other emergency issues that arise as the year transpires. But yes, we definitely aware of the trend, and the as Councillor Zacharias said, the urge is to start thinking about masks again. It's out there, and it's you know, we knew it would become endemic. We knew that it would be an annual issue. So we've been preparing for, I hate to use the word wave because that's what they use in the news, but another wave of sickness, and it will continue. My understanding, and it's not really a delivery, it's just my understanding was that the COVID would be more contagious, but less of a physiological impact to the body. And I can tell you firsthand, I was wrong. It was bad. And I know of a number of people now in town that have got it, and it's not a good thing at all. It's not that light, fuzzy head. It's bad.
It's the new variant though.
Mhm.
And it is in town. There have been a lot of cases as of late.
Yes, Councillor McQuay.
Thank you. Just with the health unit recommendation, the hospital, I believe, and maybe you can confirm this, has put their masking mandate back on in our community. So,
It's on their
yeah,
Facebook page.
so.
Mhm.
thanks.
And at the clinic, we haven't officially put it back on, but we are encouraging mask wearing.
Excellent.
And we ourselves, the staff ourselves have been
Wearing.
masking up.
Have to wear a mask all day?
When I leave my desk,
Or
when I,
acting with someone, right?
Yep.
All day.
yeah, this is different.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else on that? Next, we'll go to the special meeting for the Northwest Health Unit. And again, Councillor Zacharias.
Thank you, Mayor Ferguson. Same deal. You have the minutes. Any questions?
Nope, no questions. All right, and seeing there is no other business, we will move by Councillor Shine, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that this meeting do now adjourn. In favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone.